What is going on, everybody? Got another knife for you guys and a few updates for you too. One thing, I was on vacation the last 2 weeks, not full 2 weeks, but I was on kind of a 3-4 day weekend trip, and then I went right on to a week-long vacation. So I haven't done a video in a while, and I have a few things coming up to do vids on. One thing I know I've been talking about in the last couple of videos, I'm going to do a cut test on all the production knives I got in. And this pretty much is the last of the production knives that I ordered in that big set that I had come in. This in front of you, if you don't know, is the Nirk Tighe 2 folding knife. And it's the CRKT production version, or Columbia River Knife and Tool version. Open that up, give you something to look at there. And what really got me interested in this knife, in regards to the other ones, I didn't really know much about this knife, and then I heard, or I was watching one of Gavco's videos, and in the comments, I don't remember what video it exactly was, but something came up about, hey, can you do a lockback and a flipper? And there was some discussion about if that was possible or not, and then one of the person's comments brought up this knife. They also brought up a SOG. I looked at that model, definitely does not look as cool as this knife, or at least in my opinion, as interesting or unique as this knife does. Oh, look at that blue catch right there. But I got really interested in a flipper lockback. I just think it's a unique system, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, most knives I showed you, if you check my other videos, have either a liner lock or a frame lock that holds the knife in place here. But if you look at the one video I did of my dad's old knives, the Schrades, most of those were lockbacks, where this you push down and it releases the blade like that. And it's a very interesting construction they put together. This was obviously a collaboration between Glenn Klecker and Brian Tighe. Glenn Klecker doing the lockback flipper system, and then Brian Tighe coming up with more of the unique design and blade shape and everything, and then it was licensed out by CRKT into the production model. Now there are custom versions of this, known as the Nirk Tighe and Nirk Tighe 2. This is the Nirk Tighe 2 because it's the smaller knife, and one of the reasons I wanted to get the smaller one is because it's the larger one just seemed too big. I believe it's a 4-inch blade, it's a 5 1/4 inch handle, and it looked very large from the videos I had seen on it, and I just didn't think that I needed something that large. And really handling some of the knives I have recently, I've kind of been leaning towards the smaller knives, and especially when I had gotten my Makusta Sanmei gentleman's folder, I liked it, but I wish that it was a flipper and had a pocket clip on it, so it could be nice, something very slim, easy to slide in and carry, with pretty much minimal feel in the pocket, and not for crazy utility use, but just, hey, I have it, cut open a box, cut open an envelope, something easy there. And so I liked the size that this was listed at, maybe a little bit more on the smaller end than I wanted, but it had the same look and pretty much same exact design. Now I'll give you a few specs on this, and really what I'm going to try and jump into is show you some comparisons to other knives and give you an idea of the feel of this knife. This knife, because the specs really don't help from what I understand, what I've come to see. I've looked back at some of my other videos and even other videos of other people doing YouTube things, and they list the specs and they really don't help. Because one 3 1/4 inch blade compared to another 3 1/4 inch blade almost look completely different. One 4 1/4 inch handle to another 4 1/4 inch handle, based on where the choil is, based on how the handhold is. It's just a totally different animal altogether. So the specs on this, it's a 3 1/4 inch blade. The overall length is 7.5 inches. The blade thickness, which was something that also concerned me, was 0.11. It's probably the thinnest blade I've ever purchased, but it does actually feel sturdy and strong. I was really worried that this thing would just be like paper thin looking at it, but you have the thickness on the grinds here, and you have the swedge across here, so I was actually pretty pleased with that. The steel is AUS-8, so not your most quality steel on this. Obviously, it's, you know, in the economy class of knives, I would call it. This is, I believe, the least expensive knife I've ever purchased. But it is on bearings. The pivots, you know, have the bearing system in it, and it's just the uniqueness of it that really drew it to me. The main thing is, like I said, from seeing that Gavco video, and not so much the video itself, but the comments about a lockback with a flipper, I just thought it'd be something cool to have in my collection, and I didn't really feel like going out and getting the full custom version. There were some available on Blade HQ and some other sites that I went on. I think they list for around $525, and the specs are almost the same as far as dimensions. I want to say the custom large one, just the Nirk Tighe, is 3.875 inches, whereas the production is 4 inches on the blade. But the Nirk Tighe 2 custom almost exactly matches up as far as this knife's specs, whereas you're paying, you know, around $70 for this knife, depending on the price you get and everything. I mean, I think these list around 95, but I think I got this for around 70 or so. Whereas the full Nirk Tighe 2 custom, they price it the same price as the full size one. They put it at $525 for either the 3.25 inch or for the full 3.875 inch. And like I said, that larger one just seemed too big. The other reason I want to do a video on this is that most of the videos I'd seen on the Nirk Tighe 2 were far and few in between. Most of them were on the full size one and not so many on the smaller one. And they also made this knife look like it didn't flip that well. And I was just so curious, because I was like, how could this be on bearings and not flip that well? Especially with, when you look at the flipper on here, there really is a lot of it, and you're going straight down. I mean, it's such a aggressive angle on here, and I see these guys, you know, not flipping it out. This is a very good flipper. I was worried maybe this lockback system, because I don't know how the detent works. I mean, is there detent? You know, the blade does suck in when you get it here, but there is some give on it because of this system. So you can see here how because this is, you know, a pressure system, you have to get past that. But then you can see that really, I mean, it's almost wants to propel out from this point, so it sucks in right there, but then you can see once you break that detent, it almost pushes it almost to a perpendicular angle, and so I'm here to tell you guys, at least from my experience, this thing flies out. I mean, you pull down on the flipper and look at that. Really quick, just a nice little schnick sound, nothing crazy. I mean, once again, it's a very light, thin blade as far as the specs on it go, but a great flipper. And for what I want this for, it really fits the bill, except for one issue as far as the ergonomics go. So you put this in your hand, and let me just see if I can zoom out just a little bit to give you a better idea of this. So the handle is at a good size. I mean, you can see here, fills the hand nicely. Let me see if I can bring this up just a little bit so I can get everything in for you. I wanted to keep this video short. I'm already at 8 minutes. So here, you know, it looks like a decent size. And you flip it out, you put your hands in, and yes, these finger grooves fit nicely, and this pinky is on here, but because of the stainless steel and that there's no jimping anywhere on it, and that there's no other texture, obviously just the steel, it wants to slide. And you can see how this moves from here. Like, even when I lock it in, because you want to put your finger here, even if you go up to the top, what happens is it slides just a little bit. It doesn't feel totally secure. And once again, this isn't a tactical knife, you know, for me. It isn't a, you know, probably the best self-defense knife I'd say. This is more of I'd say a gentleman's folder, something to cut. Let me get the light off here a little bit. You know, cut open envelopes, do some light cutting with. But I just wish it had a little bit, you know, more solid feel in the hand. that it does. It has that little bit of slip to it just because of all the steel on there. Even if you try to go more, that does lock it up more if you kind of come, sorry about that, come all the way across. So you almost, you know, are monkey fisting. Here, it's totally locked in hand. You know, it's not really, you can see, there's no slippage. But it's really rare that you're going to have this kind of grip on this knife. You really have to come all the way. You can see it's here, and it's good. But most of the time, most knives, you go in this grip, and you just have that little bit of slide. If you don't mind, you know, if you want to do this, it's not bad because this little skeletonization, you have some catch on. And if you hold it, you know, this way to do some of this cutting, totally fine. But it's just in this, you get here, and you can see it slide just a little bit with your pinky there. But other than that, I really like it. I think the main issue is if they had just moved this choil up a little bit more, even if the handle was the same, but we're able to maybe make this come down a little bit less, you'd have a little bit, your hand wouldn't be pushed down as far. And I'll show you with these other knives that are similar in size to it. So you can see my Makusta is even smaller, but it feels solid in the hand. I mean, there's really nothing to really grab. I mean, as far as, you know, handle length, you can see here, the handle length is comparable, maybe even a little bit smaller, but because of the texturization on here and this slight choil here and the thickness of the blade where my thumb has a little bit more to rest on, it actually, you can see there's no slip. This isn't sliding anywhere. And also because it's just a straight angle, you know, it doesn't have that curve where it wants to slide out. Or with this, because it is angled that way, it almost, you know, it's coming out like this, and then you only have 2 fingers of grip really on it. Once again, I like this knife a lot. The one thing is I wish this thing was a flipper and had a little pocket clip on. I could slide this in and I just fly this thing out. But the Nirk Tighe really does look intriguing. I mean, you show this to anybody and they're like, wow, you can see that blue. That's a titanium nitride on there. And then it's a stainless steel handle. Also on the custom is titanium. And this thing is super light. I think it's around 3.1, 3.2 ounces as far as weight. So this actually is heavier than this. And then to give you another perspective, the Boker Federal. Now there's a little bit more comparable. Bring the light across on those. Yeah, it's larger. I mean, when we put one in front of the other or not. This is about a 3.27 inch blade, so a little bit longer blade, a little bit longer handle. And you'll see here when I put this in hand, you know, it's a straighter knife, but you really don't have, you know, when I push here, you don't see that slide on it. Where here, you know, you see how it slides across a little bit. So that's just my one thought about it. Everything else I think is great. As far as, I mean, look at the slimness. You know, you can see. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Caught the pull there. You can see just the slimness of this one and this one. And then even with this, pretty close, you know, as far as how wide they are. But this blade, I believe, on the Makusta is a little bit thicker. Just slightly. So I'm glad I picked this knife up. And just to give you one more comparison, Oh, that thing fires out. A Browse Blades Silent Soldier Blackout Edition. Now here, you actually have a shorter handle on this, but you can see when you put it in hand, the way the ergos are on this jimping is great that's on this knife. Your thumb comes up on it, and I actually have less to hold on to with this pinky finger. You can see there's maybe a little bit more there, but because of the way this choil forces me down, where this one kind of sucks me in right into the blade, you feel like you have total control. And obviously you can come up this way, and really my most preferred method of cutting with this is actually under the choil and having this, and it's just, I mean, I know you're locked in this way, and it's better, or you know, less likely that you'll be disarmed with this, but when you come over here, you just feel that you can do surgery with this. So I don't think I ever did a video on this one. I think I've shown it a couple times, but I might have to do that. Anyways, getting back to the main attraction. Main reason, sorry about that, the bump, that I got this is for my job. I wear a lot of dress pants. I go into a lot of warehouses, production areas, things like that, and I have to take samples of different things I need to cut with, and I wanted something that was a little bit classier, very slim, would slide in the pocket very easily, almost unnoticeable when I'm walking and moving around, and this has been really the perfect thing for that. Just wish it had a little bit more either length here, or that they moved the choil up a little bit more. But for what I'm doing, you know, if I have to slice off, you know, a tag or a label, get some specs on something, cut it into a box, open up tape or stretch wrap, things like that, it really seems to work well. And I've been really impressed with this blade shape. You know, for a production knife, the satin finish on here looks really sweet. And, you know, the grind isn't bad on it. And I really like the cutouts. And then obviously this blue is just a great effect on here. But, you know, two things. One, I wanted a nice, light, slim gentleman's flipper with a pocket clip. And I was looking to try out this flipper that also uses a lockback system. And I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. The one other thing with the lockback system is you can't really close it one-handed, because, you know, you can squeeze it there, but because of the tension, it's not going to fall in. I mean, you can really try and whip this in like that, but you're not really going to, I mean, you're not going to be out in public or, you know, trying to throw that in like that. You're just going to, you know, two-hand close it, slide it back in the pocket, ready to go. So just to be what, you know, things to take away from this video, these things flip great. You might see videos where you don't see them. I think it's because the people don't either know how to do it or think of it as just a folding knife or something, but this thing flips great. A nice little click snick at the end. Nothing harsh or violent about it, but just nice, easy whip on it. Easy to open. The other thing too is I'll show you opening from here. You know, you can use the choils, or not the choils, the cutouts, because they are a little rough right here. Not rough, but they're not rounded, so you can get your finger right in there. So just like that. But anyways, I went too long. I'll do the updates on another video. Just some things I'm thinking about doing for this channel, some other kind of views and ideas to work with, and I'll try to keep this under 20 minutes. I wanted to keep it under 10. That was another one of my thoughts for the update, was just to try and keep videos under 10 minutes, and obviously I totally failed. One reason is I was away and tried to want to talk about a lot of things, but we'll get to that in another video. So I hope you like this one. I'll lay these out here just so you can see them next to each other. Probably can't see that one too well on the black background, but I thought the black would show the cutouts and everything a little bit better. So hope you liked the video. Leave any comments, questions, feel free to reach out to me. If there's anything that I didn't show you on here that you wanted to see more of, feel free to let me know. I think I'm going to do a follow-up video to all the production knives on things I missed or left out looking back at them. So really fun knife. Enjoy it. Thanks, guys.